Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Namaskara. I'm Lochna. Welcome to Akriti Mini Cafe. E is all about education. It's an idea of educating, spreading knowledge, and mainly right message from the right person. So we'll have experts from respective industries who will be guiding us in this journey. COVID-19 being the talk of the town, everybody wants to give you advices, but a professional guidance is need of the hour. This being our first expert talk at eCafe, we have Dr. Hitesh BM joining us, who will be sharing information about COVID-19. We will be discussing about the symptoms, precautions, and also the necessary actions to be taken. It's an honor to introduce our expert of today's talk. He is Dr. Hitesh BM, MBBS from Adi Chunchandgiri Institute of Medical Sciences, PG Diploma in Anesthesia from JJMMC Davangere, resident in BGS Global Hospital, Kengeri, Bengaluru. You are a true warrior. Hearty welcome to you, sir. First of all, thank you so much, Doctor, for accepting our invite and spending your valuable time for us.
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Let's understand about coronavirus first. What is it and how is it different from other virus?
Basically, we'll have to know what is the name, where is the name of coronavirus derived from. Corona means in Latin, it is termed as crown. So, what is a virus? A virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent which has the capability of replicating inside a living cell. So, this is the definition of a virus. So, under this, corona is also one type of virus which belongs to a RNA family of viruses. So, the name already, as I've told, where the name is derived from the Latin, it is called as corona because it also has a club-shaped spikes which is emerging out of the virus, which resembles a crown. Hence, it's called as coronavirus. And mainly, this virus it affects the respiratory system, so causing common cold, cough, and breathlessness. These are the few symptoms about coronavirus. This is how it is different from other viruses.
Also, we would like to know the rate at which it is spreading, the recovery rate, and the death rate.
The spreading rate is actually it's spreading very rampantly. The recovery rate, as in India, is around 60 to 70%. But all over the world, what they tell is it's up to 95%, and the mortality rate or the death rate is still 2 to 5%.
Okay, now coming to the symptoms part of it, what are the symptoms of COVID-19 and how do you differentiate it from a common cold, cough, and fever to avoid panic? Also, are there any other symptoms for heart patients, diabetes, and also dialysis patients?
Yeah, actually, it's very difficult to differentiate between the common cold and cough. But basically, there are few symptoms which are unique to corona. Primarily, it affects the respiratory system. So probably the patient will have a low-grade fever, low-grade to high-grade fever, cough, dyspnea, sore throat, runny nose, and also he might develop breathlessness. And also, there's something called as silent hypoxia. Silent hypoxia is a term wherein the patient saturation might be even 60, 50 and all, and the patient won't be showing any signs and symptoms of breathlessness. Once we attach a pulse oximeter, only then we will come to know that the patient has a very low oxygen levels in his blood. So we'll also need to monitor this by using a pulse oximeter. And it can also affect various other systems like the neurological system. Mainly, patient may complain of headache, giddiness, seizures, and two particular unique symptoms for neurological are loss of taste sensation and loss of smell sensation. And apart from it, it can also affect GIT system, wherein patient can complain of nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and constipation. And also, there are some pertaining to the thromboembolic phenomenon, like wherein patient may develop sudden deep vein thrombosis or thromboembolism. It can also affect the heart, leading to cardiac failure, cardiac shock, cardiogenic shock, MI, and also right-sided heart failure. And coming to the kidney patients, where patients can land up in acute kidney injury, proteinuria, hematuria, and also endocrinological abnormalities in diabetic patients, where there is uncontrolled diabetes in the diabetic patients. And also, patient can develop severe rashes. In kidney patients, definitely patient may land up in acute kidney injury, hematuria, proteinuria, and also there are some skin manifestations. Like patient may also develop skin rashes also. So probably we have completed all the other symptoms which might be involved in corona, apart from the respiratory system.
What could be the temperature of a patient if he is if it is a starting stage of corona? Can we just take the temperature at home and can we know anything about it?
Just even if it's a mild temperature, like if it's more than 99 degrees Fahrenheit or more than 38.6 degrees Celsius, you need to go to the fever clinics and it's better to get checked by a specialist doctor.
We'll move on to the precautions, doctor. Mask being the most essential thing now, only the proper usage of it makes sense. So, we would like to know from you how, when, where, and why are we supposed to wear a mask?
As you all know, wearing a mask is a new normal. I'm repeating it. Wearing a mask is the new normal. So, where you should use this mask? Once you're stepping outside your house, it's compulsory for each and every individual to wear a mask.
Basically, the main thing what we need to understand is that why we need to wear a mask. If we are wearing a mask, it should cover our mouth and also our nose completely. I have seen many people where they just wear a mask as if they are doing some fashion statement or something. They're just covering the mouth and they're not covering their nose. It's of no use.
Basically, it's transmitted through the respiratory droplets. When a person speaks, when he coughs or sneezes, this is let out into the surrounding atmosphere. So, when a person comes in contact with these respiratory secretion or droplets, he has a very high chance of getting infected with coronavirus. Not only this, there's something called as fomites. Like when a person has sneezed or coughed, he would have touched the door handles, switches, mobiles, or any other non-living things. And other individual, when he comes and when he picks up the same thing with his bare hands, and he touches the same, when he touches his eyes, nose with his bare hands, that person also might get infected with corona. So once we wear a mask, these respiratory droplets are blocked by this mask.
And which mask do you suggest for a common man? Is it a cloth mask or a surgical mask?
Yeah, it's not only about the mask. For a normal public, I feel it's a simple mask. Like even a handkerchief is more than enough, or even a cloth mask is more than enough. What else you need to follow apart from wearing a mask is that you need to maintain a social distancing of about 6 feet or 2 meters. You will have to sanitize your hands, and apart from these two things, you will have to compulsorily wear the mask so that it will help in preventing the spread of infection. So surgical masks should be worn only by frontline healthcare workers because they'll be in very close proximity within the corona infected patients.
What are the precautions that one need to take when we go out to buy essentials? Also, should we be more cautious when we have children or senior citizens at home? So, if you brief us the guidelines, it will be more helpful for us.
Definitely, because children and senior age group people, they will have lesser immunity, and it's our duty to protect them. So whenever we are going out, as I've already mentioned regarding the three things, that is the safe distancing, wearing a mask, and using the sanitizers. Once you step out, so you whatever you have stepped out for, like buying essential items and all, once you come back to home, just keep it aside for one whole day, so that 1 or 2 days, so that the virus, if at all, if it is infected, it dies then and there itself. Or else what you can do is, if you are washing the vegetables, fruits and all, wash it thoroughly. Or else, if you have bought any other commodities with a minimal sanitizer, you can just wipe the outer part.
So, what are the precautions that a person needs to take while he is traveling in a public transport or a private transport while he's going for a COVID test? Because many other people around him can be infected, whether he may be positive or negative. In case if he is positive, he may infect the people around him. So, what are the precautions that he need to take
Yeah,
individually? Uh, they have to take.
okay. Uh, Actually, the principle remains the same wherever he goes, whether he's going for testing, whether he's going for shopping, whether he's going to get the essential commodities. What he has to maintain is the same three things. That is, he has to maintain the social distancing. He has to wear a mask, and definitely, very frequently, he should start using the sanitizers. Only these three are the precautionary methods which can save a patient or a person from getting infected or infecting others.
Immunity plays a vital role in COVID-19 recovery. So, how do we boost our immunity? Is it by taking artificial vitamins like vitamin C, zinc, or the HCQs?
See, it's better if you take vitamin supplements like vitamin C and zinc. There's no harm in taking the vitamins. And as far as possible, try to avoid HCQs because it has its own adverse effects, like leading to various cardiac abnormalities and cardiac problems. And also, patient might even die also if he's taking too much of HCQs when there's a prolonged QT interval. But basically, what you need to take is vitamin C and zinc. It can be taken instead of if you're afraid to take these medications. You can take naturally occurring vitamin C and zinc substances which are present in our diet. Like vitamin C rich food items are like all the citrus fruits like orange, guava, all green leafy vegetables, broccoli. You can consider using all these things for vitamin C. And for zinc, it is present in almond, it is present in peas, it is present in beans, it is present in red meat, and also all other milk and milk products. So better in case if people are afraid to take the medications, at least they can use this or add this in their day-to-day life in their diet.
Is it safe for children and also the breastfeeding mothers?
Not for children, we don't recommend usually taking vitamins because the preservatives are not that good. Not that good in the sense it might cause some harmful effects. So in the long term, you can give naturally occurring vitamins in the diet. It's better to add on these vitamin C and zinc rich foods in your diet.
If COVID-19 symptoms are seen in any of a family member, how do we treat them or isolate them without hurting them mentally? Also, how important is it to isolate them or home quarantine them to cut the chain link?
That's actually a very good question. A main thing is we'll have to motivate him both physically as well as mentally. So, why is this motivation needed? See, whatever happens, whenever the patient thinks that he has corona because of all these negative things around him, the patient feels, first of all, he feels is very lonely and is very much depressed. So, we will always have to motivate him that you're not alone in this disease where you're fighting against this corona. We are together in this disease. Like, we are together fighting against this disease. So definitely you will have to isolate the patient, whoever it is, your father, your husband, mother, brother, whoever it is, because they are also humans. Definitely they also have a very high chance of infecting others. First thing is you should isolate them in a room. And then as far as possible, you can, they should use a separate washroom if at all it is, if it is feasible for them. And also keep separate utensils for them so that you can provide them food in only those plates, and you can ask them to wash if they are in the middle age or something. If they are too old or something, it's better you wear gloves, or you should also wear a mask, maintain a social distancing, and you can wash the utensils. If they are too old and they're too weak, if they're not able to take care of themselves, then you can help them out with these things. And also even cleaning of clothes also is a very important thing, where you need to rinse your clothes or soak the clothes in a soap water for around half an hour to 1 hour so that the virus will be completely destroyed, and after that they can wash their clothes.
There are many statements running around on the social media. So we would like to know from you whether these statements are a fact or a myth. The first statement is COVID-19 home testing kits are available at the medical store. If yes, then what is the accuracy rate of it?
See, what you are speaking is about the rapid diagnostic test. As far as my knowledge, I don't think nobody is giving it to their home for the rapid test. Instead, what they are doing is they'll come to your home, they can collect the sample from you, the nasopharyngeal swab, and then they might get it tested. Or else, if you go to a hospital, there they might do this rapid diagnostic test. But still, these kits are not available in the medical stores. The sensitivity of this test is somewhere around 60 to 70%, which is less than that of RT-PCR. Yeah.
The second statement is sanitizers do not kill the virus. Only the hand wash will do the job.
Yeah, there is a dilemma in this, but what people need to understand here is whatever sanitizer they are buying, it should contain ethyl alcohol of more than 60 to 70%. If that product has ethyl alcohol or ethyl alcohol of more than 60 to 70%, it definitely will kill the coronavirus. Not only coronavirus, any other virus will definitely kill. So not only washing your hands with soap, even with sanitizer also, it's pretty helpful only when the alcohol concentration is more than 60 to 70%.
The next statement is COVID-19 negative people will be infected by the virus when they go to the hospital for testing.
Yeah, the thing is, patient definitely will be scared to go for testing. Like they will be very scared that where in case if they contact this virus from the testing center, something.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that all the laboratories which are testing for these COVID samples, they are taking proper precautions and they are following their own protocols, and they're trying to do their best to see that they are not passing this infection from one patient to other, so that the sampling, the test sampling which they are taking, they are wearing complete PPE and the hood box, everything is there. And with all these protocols, they are taking the sample. So I don't think that there will be any question of spreading disease from one patient to another if all the necessary precautions are taken appropriately.
The last statement is patients are ill treated at the hospital, irrespective of a government or a private one. Because of these rumors running around, there are many people who hesitate to get themselves checked or they hide the symptoms. So, what do you have to tell about this? And a recent research says there are more than 3,000 positive, that is COVID positive cases are untraceable by the officials.
No, basically, I don't think whether it's a private hospital or a government hospital, nobody treats you like nobody is ill treating the patients. See, whatever resources, whether the private hospitals or the government hospitals have, they are working meticulously 24 by 7 to save our human race or mankind. They are definitely giving their best. They are sacrificing many things which you people won't understand, or you people might not know what they are going through. Definitely, our health system is overburdened, but then also we are giving our best to fight against the corona. So I don't think nobody is ill treating you anywhere. Main thing is what we need to educate the people around them. Like we should fight against the disease and not against the patient. And even the neighbors, once the patient gets tested positively, there's nothing to be scared of. See, today it might be their turn, tomorrow it might be yours. So treat them humanely and not inhumanely. Now, how you are treating today, the same way you'll be treated the next day when you, in case if you catch the coronavirus. So please act humanely.
Coming to the end of the discussion, Doctor, we would like to know your personal opinion on the whole situation right now. And can you please share a positive instance or a case where our viewers will be motivated and all the negative thoughts will be taken out of their minds?
I told earlier that whoever the patient or whichever the patient is affected with corona, you're not alone. We are all there in this together fighting against the corona disease. And I would like to share few experience. Like I have seen a patient where the patient has come with a saturation of 40%, and that patient has recovered. It is just that you will have to be optimistic, and a proper treatment has to be given to those patients. Imagine a patient coming with 40% oxygenation and is being discharged. And what about other patients who are having oxygenation of just 85 to 90%? Definitely, they will have a very high recovery rate. It is mainly about the stigma of the disease, which is pushing the people into the being pessimistic rather than being optimistic. So there are many instances where numerous doctors have treated their patients and many people have been discharged. And recently also in the media, you've seen that more than 100 years old female patient has been recovered from corona. So what I would suggest you is that stay strong, be strong, motivate yourself, have a proper sleep, maintain hygiene around yourself, and have a very healthy food, and do exercise, and definitely maintain social distancing, wear your mask, and wear sanitizers, and that will be more than helpful. By wearing a mask, you're not only helping yourself, and also you're helping in such a way that in case if you have contacted this infection, you're not transmitting to the others, and also you're protecting yourself by not getting infected.
Thank you so much, doctor. It was great having you with us today. Taking so much risk, putting your life at stake, you do your duties. Hats off to that, sir. And hats off to all the doctors and the medical staff who sacrifice so many things in their lives and do their duties during this pandemic. Thank you once again, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's be responsible, take all the necessary precautions to break the chain link of COVID-19. Getting infected is not a crime nor an insult, so please don't hesitate to get yourself checked. Let's help each other virtually in these difficult times. Let's be sensible. You can also install Arogya Setu app. The more number of people use it, the more efficient results we get. We can get the data of COVID positive people around us, also the high risk, low risk cases which are around us. Above all this, nothing can beat your willpower. Don't lose hope till the last moment. Miracles do happen. Mental health is very much important during these difficult times. If willpower is strong, our body can fight the virus more efficiently. Let's be responsible, wear mask, maintain social distance. In emergency, or if you notice any symptoms of COVID-19, you can call Aptamitra helpline number 14410. Thank you for watching this video. The main motto is to spread awareness and positivity. Kindly share the video if you find it informative. You can also subscribe to our channel for more such upcoming expert talk at eCafe. Let's join hands in making knowledge infectious. Thank you.